especially if you waggle it around in a forest. Welcome along. Join me on the Neolithic Highway, otherwise known as the A4, as we take the tradesman's entrance to Marlborough to go and buy some pink wafers that I used to call pig wafers when I was small. I asked Helen, my partner, what she thought about pink wafers, and then she said that they reminded her of her grandmother. And I'm inclined to agree. The grandmother on my father's side, long after the relationship with my mum and dad dissolved and after my dad was dead, we still used to go and see his mum, my grandmother, and she was very caring. I loved her garden. It was in Bournemouth, or near Bournemouth, Winton or Kinson or something like that, and it was very richly appointed with juniper bushes and sort of low conifery things, and you could feel very lost in there. It was like a little forest. She was always very nice to us. We always used to remark at how soft the skin on her arms was, and she always used to ply us with endless biscuits. She also did some weird shit. She believed that conkers dispel spiders. She used to put onion in fruit salad, so it wasn't all plain sailing, but she did have some nice Chesterfield furniture as well, so like everything in life, there was balance. You can actually feel the wind resistance cutting speed as I sit up. So last week I was worried that the cub felt like it had a hinge in the middle and it was floppy and sloppy and crappy, and I think some of that is that it's juxtaposed with a crispy, fresh, brand new, well maintained Cub 125. Part of that is that the tyre pressures were low. Part of that is that for whatever reason I'd elected to... Wow, that was an ambitious downshift with a backfire. I'd elected to put the shocks onto their softest setting. I mean, look at this. Wow. But it feels less unsettling. Welcome along to Marlborough High Street, second widest high street in the UK. Tesco's. Yeah, that lean into that corner didn't feel particularly succulent. That guy loves a cub. Bollocks. Unbelievable. Well, that's my year ruined. It's just bloody beautiful. And also, if you don't go to Wiltshire often, or you've never been and you're thinking about it, just come and have a look. There are loads of decent pubs. On the whole, people are quite welcoming. There's loads of good shit to do. And it looks like this. fire this up a track and see what it's like. I suppose I don't know what Bruce Lee used to say, be like water, or I don't know whether he had a Honda Cub or not. I'd suggest not. This is definitely what these tyres are supposed to be doing, not tarmac. They're not shit on tarmac, it's just they're clearly not cut out for it. £10 points if you can hit dog. Oh yeah. That's a wizard, he's got a staff. Ew. Thank you kindly. I don't think he was that impressed. Him and his geometric dog and his staff, but we must share nicely. Nathan the postman says you've got to change up early on these and shift down late. So I've just changed up early. And it seemed to go for it. God, I'm enjoying this though. Yeah, there we go. That big impact there is why I've taken viewer's advice and stuck a strap around my box. Wimdiddly, and welcome to another biscuit review with me, Fred Hope. I'm today in West Woods in Wiltshire near Pewsey, and I'm going to be reviewing the McVitie's Tasties, otherwise known as Pink Wafers, or to me personally, Pig Wafers. I'll put some factoids about the biscuit on the screen, when it was conceived, who first made it, that kind of thing. I'll also do you a grain structure of the biscuit itself, but we're going to try them dry. We're going to test the scent and the snap. We're going to dip them in tea. We're going to try and form a verdict of who they're for. And then we're going to ride off into the beautiful afternoon sunshine. If it sounds like I'm speaking quietly, it's because I am compelled to by this mesmeric forest that I'm in. I was very careful to walk the bike in, didn't squash any bluebells. I'm just off the track. I'll leave no trace. So let's pour my energetically made cup of tea onto my top box, which this week has not pinged open. From a height, excellent head, nominal spillage, and being Japanese, this is bomb-proof. It's a slightly tasteless joke, but it has been a while. So the packet says that each one has 2.1 grams of fat, 1.6 grams of which is saturated, 2.7 grams of sugar, less than 0.1 gram of salt, and there are 37 calories in each bisque weighing 7.1 grams. Information on the pack is scant. It's just a best before date. Wheat, vegetable oil, palm and coconut, sugar, dextrose, colour, which is beetroot red, soy lecithin, salt, flour treatment agent, which is ascorbic acid. Anyway, let's rip into these, have a sniff. And a huff directly from the packet, which is an advanced technique, but one that you might like. So instantly I was wrong. It's 3 pieces of wafer, 2 stripes of custard. I'm sure there used to be 3 stripes of custard, 5 bits of wafer, but here they are. Crummy. Blow the dust off them if you're going to give them to guests. So the scent, like a sad timeout, like a crap European wafer biscuit you would get at a bad petrol station or services. There's not even sweetness. It's almost like old sawdust with no wood smell. It's just... they smell empty. I mean, they look quite jazzy, and the knurling on them is diagonal one way and then diamond the other way. The snap... God, it's beautiful in here. The snap... good snapping noise. Decent crumb cascade as well, so if you're looking to impress people with a bit of pyrotechnics when they come over to your house, these are the ones. However, I've just seen one error with these, is that they fall apart, the layers come apart, and also they're very dusty. So let's shove one in dry. The initial bite is very dry, very crunchy. Very quickly it goes gluey. And then just sweet plasticine texture. Feels quite cold actually. The paste in the middle feels cold. But nice to eat. As I said riding here, if you haven't been to Wiltshire or you don't come, please come, especially at this time of year, because it is absolutely fabulous. A little twang of acidity at the end there. And a little twist of bitterness at the end. A metaphor for life, perhaps. The tea's tasting good. That Tetley's Gold Blend was on offer in Lidl the other day, and I'm glad I bought it. So I'm going to shake another one free, another 2 free. They're only 7.1 grams each, so you can eat 1,000. 2-second dip, and I think even that might be too much. 1, 2, out. Quite an elaborate drip down, owing to the fact that tea not only sits on the knurled surface, but also drips from the porous interior. More exciting. I know a sludgy texture doesn't sound exciting, but sludgy on the outside, still maintaining crunch within. The custardy, creamy paste stuff in the middle starts to dissolve. It's alright, goes cold really quickly, especially if you waggle it around in a forest. So, I'd say these are short dippers only, or long dipper stump, and I suspect what will happen is that the wafer will fall apart and then the paste will start to dissolve, which is no good. Yeah, not good. Turns into like sugar soup with a bit of slime where the wafer gets dipped too long. So I'd say either go dry but have tea on hand, or short dip them. Who are these biscuits for? People that don't mind cleaning, because as you can see they are some dusty ass biscuits. Who else are they for? People that don't like artificial food colouring. I would say that the food colouring in there is just beetroot. I would say that they're for people that like to have fun. Mild fun, I would say. A biscuit can only be so amusing. I think they're mostly for kids, if I'm honest, and my fondest memories of eating these are being a kid. I'll take these home and see what my boy thinks of them. If not, Helen and I can gradually graze through them and remember our grandmothers fondly, which you might like to do. So these biscuits are for people that want to remember their grandparents, I would say. I remember my 3 grandparents that I knew very fondly, and if you can take a biscuit or a pill or whatever to remember your grandparents fondly, then I think you should do that from time to time. As promised, if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll eat a custard cream. If I get to 10,000 subscribers, I will eat a bourbon. And if I get to 100,000 subscribers, I will make a big affair of eating an Oreo. Next up, I've got some fig rolls to do. I bought those in despair because I thought that Tesco's, and rightly so, didn't have any pink wafers and that they'd been discontinued. But I found them in Waitrose. So these biscuits are slightly for rich people. If any of you know an alternative to the McVitie's Tasties Pink Wafer for less than £1.50, please let me know. Not that I'll be buying them again, but just for other people to know how to handle the situation better than I did today. The Honda Cub feels better. The sort of twisty whiskey feeling between the front and the back is somewhat gone, but the tyres are shit on tarmac, and I'm not exactly pushing it. They just don't seem to like braking much. They skid on the front quite easily, but it shows the brakes have got enough power, so whenever you have guests over for biscuits, make sure you maintain eye contact and chug your tea to assert dominance before you kick them out. Continue pushing it to the limit, because that's all I do. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers then.